Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our research-focused YouTube channel. Today, we have a fascinating topic to explore: the impact of cultural diplomacy on the tourism industry. We'll be delving into the world of cultural diplomacy, tourism, and their interconnection. But before we dive into the details, let's understand why this research topic is of such importance. Importance of the research topic. The research on the impact of cultural diplomacy on the tourism industry is crucial as it addresses the intersection of culture, diplomacy, and economic development, with the potential to foster stronger international relations. Understanding how cultural diplomacy influences tourism can help nations leverage their cultural assets to boost their economies and promote cross-cultural understanding. In an increasingly interconnected world, this research has the power to guide governments, businesses, and policymakers in enhancing their strategies for cultural engagement and tourism promotion. Real-world examples. Real-world example 2. Italy's cultural diplomacy in food and art. Italy's rich cultural heritage, including its cuisine, art, and history, serves as a prime example of the power of cultural diplomacy. The Italian government actively promotes its culture worldwide, leading to a surge in tourists visiting Italy. This successful blend of cultural diplomacy and tourism has not only increased revenue but also facilitated cultural exchange, as visitors immerse themselves in Italian art, cuisine, and history. Real-world example 2. The Silk Road Tourism Initiative. The Silk Road Tourism Initiative is a compelling example of how cultural diplomacy can rejuvenate an ancient trade route and enhance tourism. Countries along the Silk Road have collaborated to promote the historical and cultural heritage of the region, resulting in a surge of tourists interested in exploring the diverse landscapes and traditions. This international effort demonstrates how cultural diplomacy can transcend borders, boost tourism, and foster cross-cultural exchanges on a grand scale. Chapter 1. Introduction. Chapter 1, the introduction, typically provides an overview of the research problem, its significance, and the context within which the study is conducted. It also outlines the research questions, objectives, and rationale, serving as a roadmap for the entire research endeavor. Research problem. The research problem is the question that your study aims to address. In our case, it could be something like: how does cultural diplomacy affect the tourism industry in terms of increased tourism, revenue generation, and cultural exchange? Research significance. The significance of this research lies in its potential to improve our understanding of how nations can use cultural diplomacy as a tool to boost their tourism sector, foster international relations, and enhance their economies. Research questions. How does cultural diplomacy impact the number of tourists visiting a country? What is the financial impact of cultural diplomacy on the tourism industry? In what ways does cultural diplomacy influence cultural exchange between nations? Research objectives. To assess the relationship between cultural diplomacy efforts and increased tourism. To quantify the economic benefits of cultural diplomacy in the tourism sector. To understand the role of cultural diplomacy in promoting cross-cultural exchanges. Research rationale. The rationale explains why your research is necessary. In our case, it could be something like: cultural diplomacy is increasingly recognized as a powerful tool in international relations, and its implications on the tourism industry are not fully understood. This research seeks to bridge that gap. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Chapter 2, the Literature Review, involves an in-depth examination of existing scholarly literature related to the research topic. It explores theories, models, and concepts pertinent to the study, identifies gaps in current knowledge, and provides a comprehensive understanding of the subject matter to contextualize the research. Chapter 2 is the Literature Review, where you explore existing knowledge on your topic. Suitable subtopics. Subtopics for this research might include cultural diplomacy, tourism, economic impact, cross-cultural exchanges, and government initiatives. Theories and models. Some theories to consider are the soft power theory by Joseph Nye and cultural diplomacy model by Milton Cummings. For example, Nye's theory argues that a country's cultural appeal can influence other nations' behavior. Literature gap. Identify gaps in the existing literature that your research can fill. For example, you might find that while there is a lot of research on cultural diplomacy's impact on international relations, there's less about its influence on tourism. Chapter 3, Methodology. Chapter 3, the methodology, details the research approach, data collection methods, and data analysis techniques to be employed in the study. It also addresses ethical considerations, the conceptual framework, and the rationale behind the chosen research philosophy, strategy, and approach. Conceptual framework. You can use a conceptual framework with 3 independent variables, such as cultural diplomacy efforts, tourism growth, revenue generation, and the dependent variable, cultural exchange. Research philosophy. A suitable research philosophy could be pragmatism, which combines positivist and interpretivist approaches to get a comprehensive view. Research approach. You might opt for a deductive approach to test existing theories and hypotheses, as we're building upon established theories. Research strategy. Employ a mixed method strategy to gather data from both quantitative surveys and qualitative interviews with stakeholders. Data analysis. Quantitative analysis could involve statistical tools, and for qualitative data, thematic analysis or content analysis. Ethical considerations. Ensure informed consent of participants. For instance, if interviewing government officials, obtain their consent for using their statements in your research. Limitations and delimitations. Acknowledge limitations, like sample size, and delimitations, such as focusing on a specific country or region. Chapter 4, Data Analysis. Chapter 4, the data analysis, focuses on the practical execution of the methodology, encompassing the analysis of collected data. This chapter presents the findings derived from the research and may include both quantitative and qualitative data analysis, followed by a discussion of the results. Chapter 4 is where you put your methodology recommendations into practice. Quantitative analysis. Analyze data using statistical methods. For example, you can use a sample size of 500 respondents to draw significant conclusions. Qualitative analysis. Conduct thematic analysis on interview data, involving a sample size of 20 participants. Chapter 5, Conclusion and Recommendation. The conclusion chapter brings together your findings, answering your research questions and summarizing your contributions. In the recommendations chapter, suggest actions based on your findings. For instance, you might recommend that governments invest more in cultural diplomacy to boost tourism and cultural exchange. Suggestions for future research. Lastly, in this section, provide some suggestions for future research. For example, further research can explore the role of digital media and technology in promoting cultural diplomacy or the comparative impact of cultural diplomacy in different regions. And there you have it. We've just scratched the surface of this exciting research journey. Stay tuned for more insights on cultural diplomacy and its impact on the tourism industry. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our research-driven content.